Well, hello everyone. We are gonna start right now because we have so many things to tell to speak about because we have if we can, I will try my best for showing two classes in just one, trying to compact the content as much as possible. Obviously, if the six class is impossible to the class numbers is impossible to deliver, don't worry about because that class is not so heavy about content. Is more about is like a excuse for debating about the role of neuromarketing and how we can be, you know, we can be more aware about the ethics behind our job. But well, let's start as soon as possible. Well, I need to share my screen first. Perfect. I'm sharing the screen, I guess, and let's start. Well, let's start with the beginning with the class number 5. This class is about technology and neuroplasticity. I will try to go faster, but if you have any question, just tell me, okay? Well, in this class, we're going to talk mainly about how the technology and how the digital environments that we are living constantly, we are experiencing constantly, could affect our brain and how our brain is adapting to the different, the different situations, and obviously this new reality. I say new because in terms of history is so new, Obviously, the digital environment is not something new, real new, but it's something that changed our consumer behavior so much, and we will try to get deep into this kind of content, okay? Well, this is the introduction about what is the digital era. Digital era is a Web 3.0. Probably we are even further from that now. Is that means constant connectivity, okay, and technology, and this is reshaping our way that we are. We communicate with people. We work. We consume entertainment, and this transformation also impacts obviously our brain neuroplasticity. Okay, neuroplasticity is a concept that I will um, describe right now. Neuroplasticity is the a capacity, is neuroplasticity, sorry, allows the brain to adapt, learn, and recover. Okay, so you need to understand that the brain is obviously is an organ, but it's an organ that is changing. It's changing the shape. It's changing the circuits that compose this brain, and these changes are the reason why we can learn, we can remember, we can recall, we can change our behavior. So neuroplasticity obviously is the core of any kind of adaptation, any kind of learning process, any kind of cognitive process. Okay, so that's the reason why neuroplasticity is so important. Neuroplasticity is this capacity, and also neuroplasticity is something that is not constant. Is not constant during all our lives. Neuroplasticity is especially important during the childhood, the early ages, and during the teen era, because in those cases the neuroplasticity is key for the setting of our regions of the regions of their brain, the circuits that we are using, how we connect the different parts of our brain, and that's the reason why the child's I mean, the children are learning so fast at the beginning during the first ages, and that's also why the teenagers are especially confused and especially dealing with a lot of emotions. They are trying to find themselves in the world, to find themselves the role that they will have. So that normally when we are facing changing in our phases of changing in our life is when neuroplasticity is more and more important. Okay, neuroplasticity is not only for those two key moments. Neuroplasticity is important every day, every day in our lives. But neuroplasticity is not that high of intensity. Is not that intense when we are older and older. When we are, for example, an old man or old woman, we are not that able to change our uh, our brain structure, and that makes harder for us to understand the things, to learn about them, and so on. In this digital age, okay, this era that we are living, we are receiving constantly stimuli, okay, constant stimuli. That means social media, notification, etc. Okay, and this is reshaping constantly our neural networks, okay, influencing how consumers perceive the ads, engage with the brands, and make purchasing decisions. That's obvious. Okay, let's talk about this fun fact for understanding how the different companies, in this case Netflix, can change not only the can, no, they I mean in this case is a case is this case is a good example how a company is adapting their their products, their services and model, you know, to they are adapting to this situation. So they know that nowadays our brain has changed so much that they need to change the product to keep the engagement in a certain level, to keep the engagement to the product that they are delivering. In this case, Netflix executive tell the screenwriters to have characters, you know, characters that announce what they are doing, so the viewers that they are looking at they are watching the TV show, they can do they can do other activities. They can scroll on the phone, they can do other activities, maybe in a computer, they can cook, or they can do other things, other activities, because we are living in a world, digital world, full of production things, to a lot of productivity, a lot of consuming of other entertainment media, and we are constantly distracted by so many stimuli. So that's the reason why Netflix in this case and other cases try to adapt their products in order to keep the engagement in this super competitive way, competitive world, because now, as you can imagine, the different stimuli are uh, fighting each other to get your attention. Okay. Well, the overstimulation of the brain, but the restoration of the brain also in the reward system, not only in the attention, also the reward system. We are constantly rewarding our brain, okay, through the reward system, probably with likes, with comment, with new content. So we are triggering the dopamine release constantly, okay? This leads to the psychological dependence. It's like making people addictive, okay? That's the reason why we have this kind of this kind of behavior, um, that has the same nature of a person with addiction, because our brain is adapt to this kind of rewards. We are receiving rewards at really high rates constantly, that is so easy for us to start having this addictive brain. Our brain change morphologically, the shape of the brain change at the point that we are constantly seeking for this release of dopamine. Okay, so this makes us so so incapable to keep our attention, because this reduces the interest in other activities that probably require passions because we need the final reward, the ultimate reward as soon as possible. So for us is easier maybe to play a video game that is constantly uh, delivering rewards, for example, but we are not able to watch a movie straight, all the movie, 2 hours long or maybe more, without checking the notifications of our phone or something like that. So we are constantly, thirsty of this kind of constant rewards, constant new elements that make us release dopamine here and there, constantly. Well, let's see the impact on the consumer's behavior, especially when we are talking about marketing. Okay, the perception of ads and the digital stimuli, okay, makes us have a selective attention. We cannot put our focus in everything, so our attention must to be selective. Okay, exists a neurological impact because the ads are activating the prefrontal cortex. Okay, so we need to do a decision making. Okay, we need to evaluate the relevance of these ads. Okay, and also we emphasize, or not emphasize, sorry, we tends to select the nucleus, sorry, to select those ads that somehow delivers, triggers the delivery of dopamine in the nucleus accumbens, and this enhance the attention and brand recall. So the key in this world with all these with all these competitors of attention in this world, you need to do your ad relevant and rewarding somehow. Okay, perceptions shifts is that means that the constant exposure to personalized ads, because normally we are targeting the content to the potential audience, makes the consumer more sensitive to relevant content. So if you are delivering content but this content is not relevant to them, is not appealing to them, they will not be eye catch. They will not be interested in your content, okay, in your speech, okay. And obviously, if this content is emotionally resonant, obviously that will be better, okay. Consequences of this, well, generic ads are ignored. Hyper personalized campaigns driven by artificial intelligence and machine learning are more effective. Okay, when I say artificial intelligence and machine learning, I mean that they are built by all the data that you can get from the potential audience. So if you have a lot of data of the potential audience, you can create something especially relevant for them because you can predict their next move. You can predict their taste. You can predict their next interest that maybe they have. The recommendation algorithms, for example, when you are open Netflix, for example, you can imagine behind exists an algorithm, a recommendation algorithm that is, machine learning. After all, is a machine learning algorithm that tries to to detect the potential decisions that the people do, um, the potential next successful content, or the thing, the product that could be matching perfectly with the mood or the taste of the audience. Okay, so that's the reason why I'm talking about artificial intelligence and machine learning, because I'm talking about algorithms that knows a lot of things from the audience. Okay, any questions at this point? Okay. Brand interaction. Well, we can talk about the loyalty, emotional connection. So in this case, let's talk about this neurological impact of the brand interaction. Well, brand interactions on digital platforms activate trust and empathy circuits, okay? Releasing oxytocin. In this case, is another thing. It's not dopamine. In this case, it's oxytocin. The oxytocin is normally called like the bonding hormone because is that hormone that normally is associated with the feeling of connection with another human being. Okay, so well, also is released with animals, normally mammals and so on. But well, oxytocin normally is released with the human connection. Okay. Neuroplasticity and expectation. What happened in this case? Well, consumers now expect immediate, is personalized response, valuing, valuing, interactive and authentic experience. So people, they are not all interested in relevant content, or they are also interested in interactive things, interactive communication, in experiences that they look, intense, or that they can fit with, or they can match with, trying to, they really want to be mm, the protagonist of that experience, and they want to create these kind of connections as much as possible with the messages that we can deliver to them. So yes, in this case, to make something targeted to them is not only for making this more relevant, it's also for making them more you know considered. You are considering, you're acknowledging the potential audience, you are acknowledging how they are, and they feel valuable. They can feel that they are valuable to you. Okay. Consequence of this, well, brands invest in chatbots, for example, real-time customer service, and content marketing to foster constant interaction. Okay, to make them feel good, to make them feel attended, to make them feel that they are the protagonist, and they can do a easy connection with you. Okay, so this exists an expectation of having this kind of bidirectional relationships. Okay, well, digital communities. Let's talk about this because in the digital era, we are living also in social communities. We are living in collectivity. Even though people say that internet now and more make us feel unconnected, all this, sorry, disconnected somehow. Um, well, that's true that in some sites, but it's not fully true because we are still using internet as a point of connection, and we can use internet so many times as the only way to connect with other people. So even though sounds like, like the doom of real connections, actually for so many people is the only way to connect with other humans. Okay. Neurological impact of this, well, participation in digital communities activates brain areas linked to social belonging, the anterior cingulate cortex and amygdala mainly. Okay, fostering emotional bonds and group security. Social validation. Well, peer recommendations trigger the brain reward system, boosting purchase likelihood. Social proof effect. What is the social proof effect? Well, when we know that somebody that could look like us or could be similar to us, make feels that obviously this provides some kind of credibility to that product, but also makes us feel that, satisfied because the reward system again is trigger, and we are more available to start engaging with the product or to buy the product or whatever. Okay. Consequences of this, well, the brands like, for example, Nike, sorry, build digital communities. For example, with in this case Nike, they prepared an app that is not selling any product. Well, obviously sells, but indirectly. But they create an app for making easier to contact with people that have the same hobbies related with the sport. So you can have a community for going out and run with other runners, for example, and that creates um, a community and also enhance the loyalty and the association with the brand and this feeling of belonging. All these kind of things. Okay, this is also so common in other cases. For example, the gaming communities or communities about cooking or communities about other things. There's a lot of digital communities, and maybe we are not fully aware of them, but they are everywhere. Okay. Well, purchase decisions. Well, we have an impulsive brain because we are living in an era that we can just do so many actions with one click. Before, to do, for example, a purchase in a website was really difficult, or not difficult, but at least where it it took longer. To buy clothes in a website took longer, and maybe doesn't feel convenient or comfortable. But now there are a lot of one-click purchases. You can buy the things, and the friction with the website is almost zero. Okay, so yeah, exists this kind of experiences when you are buying something, and this triggers also the dopamine release because it's so easy and it feels like a game again. You just click and apparently you are about to receive something that you wanted. So that makes the connection with the process really easy, really seamless, really flawless, and they exist an instant gratification, and this increase the impulsive buying. Okay. In this case, the neuroplasticity and the shopping habits, okay, also have something to say. The brain adapts to immediacy and convenience, okay? So now our brain is adapt to this kind of purchasing process. If someone uh, imagine that you can go to the past and you go to the internet of early 2000, for example. For in that moment was so difficult to do a really quick purchase in websites, in e-commerce sites. And that's the reason why for us now, with our brain totally adapt, is that will be a problem if we have an e-commerce website that is not working fast, or it's not working as expected. So that's the reason why we prefer this kind of easy webs, and also is an advantage because we can take advantage about the impulsive patterns that the people have. We can somehow to be uh, to have the favor of this kind of new shape of the brain of people, because now, especially the younger generations, they don't have the passions to do a really long process of purchasing through e-commerce or maybe apps. Okay. Consequences of this, well, brands optimize the platforms to make all the process easier. Okay, and also to make the experience you know super super focused on doing the last all the purchases, especially those purchases that could be, for example, abandoned, or they could be lost somehow. For example, with abandoned cards and limited time offers, for example, to exploit this kind of patterns. For example, if you find a message that says that one product is about to finish, In this case, you will be triggered to get that product also for because the FOMO, or in other hand, exists the possibility that when you are about to finish the product, but you are distracted by something out of the computer, for example, the website reminds you that you have objects, that you have items in the chart, sorry, in the cart. And all these techniques tries to, to exploit the patterns of impulsivity, trying to make people finally finish the purchase. And also and nowadays they it's so common, for example, that this kind of websites also um, give you discount coupons for limited time, all these kind of things. Okay, so all these techniques tries to say buy, 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 and buy because it's easy, because you can do it with one click, because never before was that easy. So you click, you have, you click, you have, and this is rewarding. The
I have a question.
Yes,
Can I interrupt you or?
yes, 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 for sure.
Yeah. So the impulsive brain obviously drives you to purchasing
Yes.
when you're in this kind of environment.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, personally, when
Mm-hmm.
I try online shopping, I'm so overwhelmed that I always open the app multiple times
Yes.
because I think, oh, I'm gonna buy some pants, and then I see so many options that I,
Mm-hmm.
in the end, buy nothing. How is that? What is it in my brain that stops it, that stops me from buying something?
Mm-hmm. Obviously
Is it?
exists, yeah, obviously exists individual differences, you know.
Hmm.
If I don't know the website that you're talking about, but if probably that website, if this website is
Any website, literally H&M, Zara, every
okay.
clothing website. Yeah.
Probably the design of those websites works, but no, those websites are not working for you. That's what I mean, you know.
Okay.
Those websites are so well designed and probably are prepared for for making all the process as seamless as possible, super easy to navigate.
Yeah.
That is the idea. That is the main idea.
Hmm.
Probably they are not perfect, and they can be, improved somehow. But the experience that you have probably depends on your personality, your preferences when you try to buy. For example, in my case, I'm not impulsive at all. I like to spend time watching to comparing the products. Sometimes
Yeah.
I'm not buying the thing at the first time. I'm just thinking of maybe for two
Yeah.
days.
That's how I am. Yeah.
Exactly, I'm this kind of consumer. But even for this kind of consumer, if the website is ready, really prepared, they use different techniques. For example, when now exists this kind of probably you already saw that when you get into the website appears a banner, a first banner that say put your email for getting a discount. Just you enter, and the first thing that they say is put an email to get in a discount. This is not for delivering a discount, it's for having your data, and in case that you are not buying anything, the next day you will receive a notification saying, hey, remember that we exist. Remember that we are waiting for
Yeah.
you. Remember that even you didn't buy anything in the website because you prefer to have analytical process of the products that you are about to buy, even though they prefer to be there trying to say, hey, remember me. Hey, I'm here. Hey, you didn't buy this, but I saw that you were watching this product for a long time. So
Hmm.
they try to get all the people, to get all the audience, the impulsive ones, and also those kind of users like you or baby B that say, okay, this user is harder to get, but I will try all my best for keeping the connection with them, keeping to to push, to push you
Yeah.
to finally re-engage with the product. So exist different options. Obviously, nowadays the websites could be even overwhelming because they are constantly competing with other options with other competitors to find to finally achieving that purchase. But well, obviously exist the differences, the individual differences, and a well website will try to get as much as possible of the potential audience. Okay, that with different techniques.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's move to the next slide. Opportunities in this digital consumption. Well, we need to leverage the neuroplasticity. Okay, so brands normally do that. They leverage the neuroplasticity because they know that the brain is already changed. They know that our brain change in that direction. Maybe before or maybe in the future will change in a specific way. So they create, okay, immersive experiences, okay, to activate empathy and memory, deepening consumer connection. So I remember that I told you before, we are constantly looking for connections. We are constantly looking for relevant elements, something emotional, because we need more and more and more. Our brain nowadays is thirsty of things because it's exponential. If we have a lot of stimuli, our brain has adapted to this overwhelming environment, and somehow our brain and the circuits, especially the reward system, you know, are changed in a behavior of addiction that make us feel thirsty for more and more and more and more. And when this happens, we need, as a brands, to also give more and give in a higher way to the competitors. That sounds like something, a never-ending story where the things could be even dangerous in the future. Well, that's true, but is this could be a cycle actually. At some point that will be the situation could be really unsustainable, and we will, as a society, we will change our trends. The idea is to be aware for that, because neuroplasticity is a capacity that can go in both directions, not only going in the to the high levels of thirstiness, of trying to get all the stimuli that you can. Also, the neuroplasticity could be the capacity of relearning how to have a quiet way to experience the world and also the digital world. So yes, now we are living in this fast-paced environment, but maybe in the future we will go down. We will slow down a little with all this kind of consuming patterns. So yes, we need to be aware about our potential audience, what they want, and how they consume the kind of products that we are about to deliver to them. Okay, we need to go further to explore new brain changes. So that's the reason why I'm talking that neuroplasticity as a capacity that the brain have, because the brain is in one way now, but maybe in the future could change, and we need to be alert because we need to acknowledge this capacity and recognize this capacity that could make people have a new brain in the future. The brain of today could be different in maybe 10 years, and they can change their patterns about how they interact with the different content like ads, like apps, like products, like e-commerce web pages, all and so on, and even music and and movies and trailers, these kind of things. Okay. Well, the challenge in this case, the consumers could develop awareness of digital overexposure, set tech boundaries, and engage in activities promoting reflection and critical thinking. That's actually the thing that I was telling you before. This could be a cycle. Now they are consuming so fast a lot of things, but at some point they will stop or they will feel too uh, affected to the I don't know how to say, yeah, but flawed by all the this kind of content that could be even dangerous for them, and maybe they decide consciously to set boundaries, okay, about all these things. Any question? Okay. Well, challenge of the social networks, because obviously we we live in these social networks, and this implies some problems. The first problem is the social network paradox. Is something that I want to tell you later. Same happened with the annoying effect of ads, okay, and uncontrolled posts. Okay, these three things are the challenge of social networks. When we are interested in posting and delivering our ads and campaigns in social networks, we need to have in consideration these three topics, okay, these three problems that we need to deal with, okay. Let's move to the paradox of social media advertising. What happened? Well, exists a content saturation. Okay, users nowadays, according this study, they are exposed exposed daily to 6,000, 10,000 ads. Okay, that's crazy. It's a lot of ads. Some of them probably they are, the people are not processing these ads. But well, this is a huge amount of ads, so that makes so hard to stand out with all this sea. Actually is an ocean of ads that the people can be facing during all day. Okay, so brands aim to be unique, but often follows trends to leverage proven engagement. So that's a little the paradox in this case, because as a brand, we want to be unique, we want to be different, but sometimes the algorithm rewards the engagement on trends, and the way that you want that people see you, or the way that the you know they the way to get the engagement with your audience normally implies to be aware of the trends, to be aware of what is happening in internet in order to mimic something else, So that's the problem with the social media. We want to be new, we want to be something exciting, but at the same time we are copying other people. So that's a problem. The problem is exactly the second point: originality versus trends. Following trends ensures visibility, but risk blending it. Okay? Being too original can fail to resonate or be misunderstood. Algorithm influence. Well, again, social media algorithms prioritize the trending, high engagement content, pushing brands to follow those trends. And overuse of trends dilutes their impact, making it harder for brands to stand out. Okay, exists this problem, this balancing problem. Okay, consumer psychology. Well, users seek both novelty and familiarity. That's the huge problem that we have. They want something new, but at the same time, if something is too new, they don't like. They want something that they can recognize. Okay, content blending new ideas with familiar elements is 30% more memorable. Okay, let's talk about how to resolve this paradox, because we were mentioned about the problem, but let's talk about possible or potential solutions that we can apply in this case. Innovate within the trend. So you should use the trends, obviously, because the algorithms the algorithms design the game that you are playing, but try to add unique twist. to the trend. So if you're using a trend, if you are engaging in a trend, please try to do something unique inside of the trend that, and especially something that is aligned with your brand identity. Okay. I don't know, depending of your product, depending of your idea, depending of your brand. Okay. Focus on authenticity. Okay. 90% of consumers prefer authentic brands. Okay. So try to be truth, try to be that your voice is true as much as possible. Why? Because if you try to mimic something that is not aligned to you, if you try to lie them, if you're trying to, I don't know, uh, uh, trying to change your image or your reputation in a way that feels fake, in a way that feels fake, that's the point. In this case, probably you will harvest in failure, because um, the people in general perceive authenticity as something valuable. So they prefer that you keep, your authenticity, and don't try to lie them in a way that they can detect, So try to be as transparent and honest as possible. Okay. Target niche audiences to create tailored content for specific segments and clusters of people. This increase the relevance and differentiation. So don't try to get as much uh, as as uh, as audience as possible, because this could be a problem, because you want to make all the people happy, but finally you are not making happy anyone. So that's the reason why, if you have a product that is is not an universal, is specific for a group of people. Focus on the group of people and don't try to force other potential audience to consume your product, because you are wasting efforts, you are wasting probably money, and it's not necessary. So try to focus your efforts, and direct your focus, direct your efforts to a specific target, towards a specific target, and cultivate that, try to enrich that process, to make the campaign especially tailored for those people, because they will feel that is for them, and they will recognize and they will acknowledge this kind of strategy that you can adopt. Okay. Experiment and analyze. Well, that is something that is not easy, especially if you don't have enough budget or you don't have enough time. But in case that you have the opportunity of applying scientific methods or scientific methodology, try to use it, because to test different strategies, for example, comparing one trend with original content that you have in mind, okay, and trying how they work in the real world, in the social networks. If you have this option to test different options, you can use analytics to refine your approach, and knowing more, if and knowing more information about how the different strategies that you compare could be good or not for the final goal. So if you want you establish a goal, and you establish two approaches, uh, obviously it's difficult to bring up two approaches at the same time, and trying to do an experiment, because this implies money and time and effort, and so and more people doing the job. But that makes easier to compare and to know what is happening. Okay. So yes, if you have the option, please try to test the things, and then collect the data for an understanding what is in front of you. Okay. Well, uh, more challenges of the social networks. Well, this is something so obvious, is how is an annoyance factor of social media ads. Okay. For example, users seek organic content Okay, they want content when they are in websites. I sorry, websites in social networks like Instagram, Facebook, and so on, or maybe YouTube. They are looking for social media content, but made by people, made by other humans. Okay, so social media users primarily log in for entertainment, connection, and user-generated content. That's the thing. Okay, so yes, a global study. Okay, sorry, a study that made by Global Web Index exists a 70% of users that prefer this kind of content. That's a lot. Okay, ads are considered a disruption, are considered an interruption of the content that is considered as good. So normally people that is connected with um, this kind of organic content, if you put an ad inside of that, if the content, if this ad is not good enough, it's not relevant for them, is maybe over frequent, this make people perceive this ad as annoying, and you don't want that your ad will be perceived as annoying, especially when they can recall your brand in the future. If they recall your brand in the future in front of the in the retail store or in the website or whatever, if they perceive that your brand is the same brand that were destroying the experience of in the social network, or in a bad way, that could be a problem in the future about the interaction with your potential audience. Yeah, tell me why.
So ads are defined maybe in this case by maybe graphics or like things that interrupt your video. But sometimes, well, 40% of the content of influencers is also an ad, right?
Yes,
And that
that
people watch with pleasure.
exactly. That's something that I'm gonna tell you later, how to tackle this problem, because this we have
Ah,
this
okay.
problem. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good
Ah,
job.
okay.
We have
Okay.
this problem. We have this problem because the ad is perceived as something that is an
Mm-hmm.
interruption of the organic experience of watching, I don't know, mm,
Yeah.
videos on Instagram or on TikTok or these kind of things. But we need to use strategies for making the ads, more interesting, or at least
Yeah.
less annoying. So let's see in the next slide how to move this. Okay, what
Yeah.
the brands can do
Thank
in
you.
this case: improve the ad relevance. Okay, for example, again, use data-driven targeting to ensure ads align with the user interests and behaviors. For example, in YouTube, normally better, normally worse, but depending on how the algorithm is working. But well, normally the videos that they are showing to you, they are aligned with your segment of people. For example, it's so difficult that I will see videos about I don't know, makeup, for example, because they know that I am a man, and they know my age and so on. Probably as a man of my age and my interest, I will see videos of I don't know, technology, cars, or I don't know, video games, my kind of interest, for example. But other person with another interest will see other kind of content. So that's the reason why the data-driven targeting is so important. Okay, adopt non-intrusive formats. How it means? Well, leverage native ads or influencer collaborations that blends seamlessly with organic content. If you are watching your favorite celebrity, you are watching your favorite influencer, and somehow this influencer is good enough for including the product in a nice way, in an imperceptible way, in a funny way, you will be informed of this product. You will be informed of this product. You have also this proof social, because exists a credibility that implied with the influencer. The influencer has this perception of credibility, you are leveraging this credibility that the influencer have, and this bound that you have with the celebrity, because it's, exists this parasocial communication with the celebrity. You feel the celebrity as a friend, you feel the celebrity as something, as someone, I mean, as someone closer than a brand, that the celebrity is human in comparison to Coca-Cola, It's human in comparison to Apple. So that's the reason why an influencer, a celebrity, is someone that you feel as a good, as a friend, as a someone that could be like you, is better. And exist different kinds of influencers for sure. They are also targeting to specific audience, because there are influencers of food, there are influencers of style, influencers of traveling. So you have different options to put your product, and that's the reason why in these niches you can put your product easily. If you try to sell, I don't know, insurance with an influencer of makeup, that will be so difficult, okay, and has no sense, and that will be perceived as something annoying. But if you are interested in selling, I don't know. Um, Maybe a new brand of soy milk, and you are selling this product. You want that the influencer is selling this product to a really interesting audience, that they are interested in cooking content, that and maybe healthy diet content. Okay, that is perfect, because you are targeting directly to people that are really interested in this kind of products, and also you are leveraging the credibility of that person that is mentioning your product, is showing their product, is using their product. Remember the mirror neurons and so on. Okay, so yes, it's a win-win in all cases. Okay. Respect user experience, avoid excessive frequency, and prioritize quality over quantity. Okay, so yes, if you are trying to get to buy as slots of time in television, or in websites, in social network, when you try to buy these kinds of slots, do it wisely. So don't buy too many slots if your brand or your content is not enough interesting. Okay, if your content is could be perceived as annoyed, please don't repeat it, because it could be worse. Okay, a good balance between being present and being memorable, and also being gentle with your audience. Okay, don't be too excessive with the frequency. Okay, any question? Well, we cannot do activity titles, sorry. Well, sorry, no, we need to do this. Wait, sorry, it's just a question that I want to ask to you. What do you think about the free speech in general? Do you have any opinion about the free speech? No, in general, sorry, in social networks. In social networks, do you have any kind
I
of opinion?
I think it's good, obviously, that everyone that there is existing that the existence of free speech is here.
Hmm.
But I do think it's also very dangerous because of the amount of misinformation that goes around and people spreading it among people. Um, so yeah, I think it has a downside and an upside.
Okay. I see someone, Julia. Julia, you raise your hand.
Yeah, I I think lately people confund they are confusing free speech with like being spreading hate and
Hmm.
being like not how can I say, like legally
Hmm.
acceptable. So one thing is like share your opinion, and another thing is going against the law and spreading hate and racism and other things that like are not acceptable legally. So, but people confuse that with their own opinion and free speech. So there is like a very fine line that that is a boundary that has been crossed lately and confused between people.
Exactly. So we can talk about free speech as something good in general, but free speech in social network could be dangerous because a lot of people is confused that is a word that I like. Yes, a lot of people confuse the free speech with the freedom of posting any kind of content without any kind of control. Well, when we are talking about control, in case of social networks, we are talking about content moderation. That's the term that is used, content moderation. Do you know what it means, content moderation in social networks? Yeah, do you have an idea about what it means? Well, if you don't have idea what it means, oh, sorry, Nasos, can you tell me?
Yes, I wanted actually to answer also to the previous question.
Tell me.
I wasn't really sure if I should say what I honestly believe, but I guess we are supporters of free speech here. I feel, and this is more of a personal positioning rather than a professional. I feel that there are some misconceptions and some illusions. As an example, we say, uh, we're going from one to two and to three to four so quickly by forgetting the why those steps existed. And by that I mean the following: we say we want free speech. Everybody should speak. Everybody should speak freely. This is democracy.
Yes.
Democracy that was born in Greece was not this. Not everybody
Mhm.
could speak. They had to do with who you are and what have you done. So based,
Mhm.
let's say, on your criminal record and on your past activity, you could lose the
Mhm.
right to speak in the. It wasn't
Mhm.
exactly parliament. It was, let's say, an open amphitheater. So right now, everybody could, you will never lose that right, even if, let's say, I don't know, you are I don't even gonna name some crimes.
Mhm.
You continue, let's say, being a politician, rapist, whatever. You continue having the
Mhm.
right to post. So
Mhm.
let's say this is not free speech; this is unlimited speech, which is taking to the other side. And also the way that algorithm works. I have seen the CVs of some of my colleagues, and I know that some have a little bit of more technical knowledge on that. It
Mhm.
actually it promotes conflict. So it promotes free speaking in a way that it wants
Mhm.
people to argue. And as a last note, when it comes to content moderation and I
Mhm.
don't know, not allowing people to talk badly and to misbehave,
Mhm.
etc. I'm
Mhm.
always extra careful when someone that doesn't know me cares so much about me,
Mhm.
because this is the door that you open in order to be able to moderate the content. As they do in some countries, they say, "Oh, young children use social media or internet for the wrong
Mhm.
reason, so let's ban social media." So you know what? We are avoiding protests. So I'm extra careful when someone cares so much about my mental health and says, "You know what? We are doing it for you."
Okay, so interesting. All the points that you expose, I really like, especially coming from a Greek person, because obviously all the perspective about democracy is so valuable, especially from a person from Greece. I would like also to do an extra question in this case. I want that you really focus your really think about the idea that you are marketers and you will in the future probably put your campaigns, put your strategies to use you to have projects, designed to be in social networks. Okay, so probably your products and services will be in social networks. So you need to be really responsible about that and really aware about that, because your content, the content that you want to spread with the people, this content will coexist with other content. That's the reason why I'm asking about what is your idea about free speech, because I'm gonna show you the next slide. Your content will exist in a place full of other content made by people or made by other companies or made by I don't know, groups of hate or somehow. Okay, so your ad in the future could exist with organic posts made by people, okay, created by other users. People use platforms to express themselves. That's true, and we like the platforms because you can express yourself as so many ways. Maybe with artistic content, maybe with your political speech, your political ideas, maybe with I don't know, maybe trying to spread a positive coaching messages to the people, and that's good. But also there are a lot of people that share disturbing content. I don't know why, but exists, is a phenomenon that exists, okay, and could be uncomfortable also, okay, and this kind of speech, this kind of speech is a problem, not only itself, obviously it's a problem itself, it's also a problem for you as a marketer that you want to post your content, because your audience might create an unwanted association between your brand and the contents. And also exists another problem. Imagine that, in this case, let's imagine Facebook or let's imagine Instagram, whatever. You are in Instagram and you as a user start feeling bad. You start feeling uncomfortable because you are seeing a lot of content that attacks you or attacks a friend or attacks a familiar, or maybe content that is posting disgusting content or content that could be uncomfortable somehow. If you as a user start being attacked or maybe offended by the content that is posted, you finally will go out from the platform. You finally will shut down the platform, and you probably leave the app because it's not a safe place. Okay, so that's the reason why the content moderation is our friend, especially from the perspective of a perspective of a marketer when we want to bring up content. Okay, so free speech obviously is something good, but you need to know that not all people have good intentions. Okay, that's the reason why the content moderation is so interesting. Is important to keep it. Okay, the content moderation also, you need to keep that in mind. Content moderation normally follows policies made by private companies, so they are not the best of the best too. Okay, neither, I mean, they are not the best because they also have their own agenda. They want to make the place safer, especially for you, the marketers. They want to make the place safer because they are interested on keeping the audience as much time as possible in the platform. So they are not really interested in erasing Nazis in the websites. They are not interested in that. They are just interested in keeping the place safe to get more and more ads, to get more and more commercials, because that's the way that they survive. They get money. So yes, exists an interest of moderating the content, but especially for keeping reputation and keeping safer place for the brands. Okay, let me show you just some of the content that content moderators are constantly avoiding, that you see. Content moderators are real humans that they are working during hours watching videos and watching reading content and watching photos and categorizing and classifying all that content to decide if they keep the content in the platform or they remove the content from the platform. And that work is important because otherwise the Facebook accounts or Instagram accounts will be full of this kind of content. Okay, this kind of content is so often. Okay, it's not something you know just it's not something I mean it's not something uh, singular. It's something so often. It's something that happens so much. It's so frequent. Okay, hate speech, presence of dangerous groups. Okay, like narco traffickers, like hate groups, like Nazis, other kind of groups. There's a lot of dangerous groups. Okay, explicit graphic violence. That's a lot of graphic violence. Okay, a lot of them. Commercial sexual activities, prostitution, for example, or people that maybe try to sell OnlyFans accounts or these kind of things. Okay, self-made porn, a lot of porn, child abuse, a lot of child abuse. You cannot imagine how many child abuse you can find in normal platforms. Okay, I'm not talking about deep web sites. Okay, I'm not talking about something so difficult to find. Facebook is full of child porn, full, full. Fraud attempts, that's a lot of fraud attempts. Suicidal and eating disorders content, because there are a lot of teenagers that try to engage to suicide, and also exist videos, live videos that they are so difficult to remove because the video is live of people engaging in suicidal behavior, for example. Bullying and harassment, that's a lot of bullying everywhere. That's a lot of the bullying and spam and cybersecurity problems. Okay, so artificial intelligence and human moderators, that's a work, trust me, because I was working on this a long time. Okay, are not able to remove all this content. Okay, they are not able to do this. Also, you need to keep in mind, as I mentioned, that exist policies that says what to keep and what to remove. Okay, but these policies can change. That's also a problem. Okay, something that normally is considered bad, is considered worthy to remove. Okay, maybe depending on, I don't know, new politics, new ideas, new waves of ideas about the free speech, they can change. And that is example that, right, that actually happened. Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, Google, and others, okay, they reduce the enforcement of the policy, okay, because Donald Trump start being on the government. And that moment, all these people that I mentioned, they decide, for being more aligned with the idea of free speech, I'm using quotation marks, okay, with the idea under free speech, they reduce the enforcement of these policies. What happened, and this is for real, for a long time, all the attacks, for example, against women were totally banned, were totally removed. But after Donald Trump arrived into the government and forsake the free speech, what happened? Sentences like this, women are like washing machines, this sentence, that is disgusting, this sentence now are allowed. This sentence is allowed in Facebook, for example, or in Instagram. They no remove this content. Why? Because free speech. You as a brand, you don't want to be in these kind of places. As a brand, maybe you prefer not being exposed in a place where women are attacked or could be attacked, I mean. Okay, so we need to be aware about this. We need to be aware about how social networks could work. So it's difficult because to remove all this content, obviously the professionals behind, they are doing a really good work, but they are not superhumans. They cannot remove all the content. Okay, and the users finally could feel uncomfortable, or could be doing, unwanted associations with your brand, because you are coexisting as a brand. You're coexisting with all this content that is made by other users. So you need to be aware of this. That's the idea of these last two slides. Okay, so social networks are obviously really nice tools, but have a really dark side. Okay, any question? No? Okay. Next. Well, as you know, I'm a big fan of big data, artificial intelligence methodologies, scientific methodologies, because I'm working as a data scientist. But well, I don't want to give a lot of content, techie content about this, but I just want to make you aware again that big data is so important. But if we want to be prepared and to predict the next movement of the potential audience, we need to know that we will work with so many data, with huge amounts of data, and this implies to get familiar with the technology behind this processing of the data. Okay, we get the data, we process the data, we use the data to understand what is happening. We deliver to data to stakeholders to make it more easy to understand this data, to create a narrative, to create a strategy. So yes, data is the core of so many things. What we what means big data? Well, big data refers to extremely large database, but it's not only really huge amounts of database of data. That means also it's volume, but it's also velocity, okay? Because it's really really fast to be generated, but also really fast to get to gather, to collect. So the velocity is important, and also the variety. Okay, when we are talking about big data, we are talking about data that is not always the same. It's not only text, it's not only pictures, it's not only photos, it's so many kind of information. Sometimes it's biometric information, sometimes it's patterns of activity. So there's a lot of information like numbers, text, images, so many types of data. Okay, that's the reason why we are talking about the three B's: volume, velocity, and variety. How is obtained? Well, big data is collected with various sources. Social media activity, we were talking about this before, website analytics, customer transactions, and Internet of Things devices and sensors that we are surrounded every day. Okay. Challenges of using big data. Well, the data quality. If you get bad quality data, probably your results will be so bad. So try to get the data as quality as good as possible. Okay. Privacy concerns. Well, we need to comply with the regulations about data. Okay, especially if you work in places with really restrictive laws. For example, in Europe exists really restrictive laws about the use of data, because exists regulations for privacy. And complexity. Managing and analyzing large datasets requires advanced tools and also expertise. So obviously you don't need to be developers, but if you really want to do a good processing of this information, probably you need to work with someone that knows this kind of technologies and methods. And probably if you have the opportunity of getting deep in this world of information and data, you will work with a data analyst, a data scientist, a data engineer, this kind of professionals. Okay, any question? No? Okay. Computational methods to leverage data. Well, a statistical analysis, okay, to identify patterns and correlations in data. That's easy. Machine learning, when I'm talking about machine learning, actually are algorithms, okay, to predict outcomes, to be aware about the uh, the audience that you are dealing with, to know more about the forecast trends, to forecast the next big thing that will happen in your market, and so on. Okay. Also recommendation systems that I mentioned before. Okay. Predictive modeling, well, forecast future trends. I told you this before. Sorry. Yeah, exactly. To forecast future trends and behaviors. Okay. So that's the reason why it's so important to understand big data and use the big data wisely. Okay. Data is not interesting if you are not able to understand those numbers and make these numbers relevant to for your project. Okay. Well, applying a scientific method to marketing. This is so important. Avoid simultaneous actions. That is something that happens so many times in companies. So many times when we want to apply an action, to apply and coordinate different options, instead of doing a plan based on comparing the different things and trying to analyze the data collected for different things, somehow, maybe because we have a short budget, or maybe you have short time. In this moment, so many companies decide to apply all the actions at the same time, implement all the multiple changes at the same time, at once. And that is so difficult after to identify what drives the results. What then you have the results, but it's so difficult to isolate what is the cause for every single thing that what is the cause of the result, and which one of the from the all the collection of actions that you did, which one is the actual responsible of the final result. That's the problem. Okay. Parameterize that clearly. Okay. Define and track variables precisely. So if you want to collect information about a behavior, try to understand what kind of data, which kind of data you need to collect. Okay. Maybe the time that the people are watching an ad, maybe the pattern of clicking in a website, maybe, I don't know, the conversion rates. So many different numbers, because normally they are numbers, and you can understand these numbers not only as information. We can understand these numbers as a reflection of actual behavior in the real world. Okay, and you need to be accurate about this kind of information, because it's crucial to understand then what is happening with the potential audience, for example. Use regression models, apply regression analysis to determine the weight of each variable. Okay, so when you are dealing with different variables, use regression models to understand which one have weight, more weight regarding a result, or regarding a target variable. Okay. But this is activity time. We cannot do it. Oh, we finish. We finish. Wow, come on. Perfect. I was fast. I was so fast. Oh, perfect, perfect, perfect. Well, let's go to the next class then. Whoa. I thought I am I'm amused because this. Sorry. Well, next class number 6, ethics and inclusiveness. This class, if we can talk more and debate a little, because it's not plenty of content. Okay, actually, it's more to think about the role of neuromarketing in world, and how to be more ethic, and how to be more inclusive with the audience. Okay, so obviously marketing have a really bad reputation in these terms, and so many people say, oh yeah, the people that they are people that tries to deceive us, or they try to lie to us. They try to fake the content. They try to do so many things against the people. But actually, we can do really good strategies of marketing, and also keeping our soul safe, because we don't need to be bad, and we don't need to be mean, and we don't need to be illegal. So we can keep ethics as much as possible. Let's talk about this. Well, let's talk, at the beginning, introduction. Neuromarketing shapes decisions, emotions, and behavior. So we have a really important responsibility. Okay, we have a great power. So great power, as you know, great responsibility. Ethical practices, okay, ensures trust and long-term success. Okay, so we need to be aware about our power because especially in marketing in general, but especially neuromarketing, we are talking about behavior, we are talking about humans, we are talking about emotions. So that's really important that we keep the neuromarketing as a tool for the good, as a tool that make us to achieve the goals, but at the same time make life and make the world a better place. Okay, I know that sounds so hippie somehow, but I prefer that you keep this mindset. Okay. Uh, well, I think that let's talk about the harmful effects, the potential harmful effects of neuromarketing. Okay, self-esteem. That is something that probably you know from other classes and probably from your life. Okay, ads could promote unrealistic beauty standards. That's something that happens so often, flawless skin, perfect bodies, and this can lead to body dissatisfaction and low self-worth. All these classes I was talking, especially when we were talking about the social interactions and the social aspect of marketing. When we are watching a model, I told you that this model should be attractive, this model should be credible, this model should be beautiful somehow. But this also have a problem because if we are exposing and probably overexposing our audience to beauty standards that could be really dangerous in terms of inspiring dissatisfaction with their own bodies, this could lead these self-esteem problems or even worse, like eating disorder problems and so on. So yeah, we need to be aware about this. Julia?
I was already kind of reading the question for discussion, and I do have a point here and maybe a question of reflection. Isn't it the case that in this specific situation, social media and neuromarketing grow faster than the educational system, government, and society does? Because this is my personal opinion, right? Like everything that we are discussing is absolutely happening and it's true, but like where is then the line between how marketers and social media have like go further and where is the power and responsibility of, for example, educational systems to make sure that we educate people, that we provide the instrument to interpret, let's say, all of this messaging that come our way. It's more of a reflection rather than a statement.
Yeah, good. I really love this kind of reflections. If you want to, that for all of you, if you want to do more reflections during this class, especially this class about ethics and inclusiveness, they are totally welcome because that's the best moment to talk about it. Well, regarding the your comment, I think in this case, the problem is these kind of problems are perceived as new, and because they have a really critical effect in the society. But this is not true. This is not true because the problem of self-esteem related with marketing is a problem so old. It's a really old problem. Okay, it's not something new. But the problem here is that nobody solved that problem what was at the beginning when people were mm, interacting with this kind of self-esteem, beauty standards with the magazines, when they were consuming this kind of content from these channels. When that happened, nobody found a solution for that. Nobody found that solution. But now the problem is even worse because now the magazines is not the big channel. Now the channel is invading the houses and is invading the life of everyone because we are with a tiny computer every day, every time, using during hours, and this is bombarding us constantly, and we don't have enough control about this. And the problem is even worse because before, a magazine was something that you need to buy, you need to consume, is something active somehow, something that requires an active experience. Was a problem that moment, obviously, but now the influence of this kind of products and this kind of messages and this kind of beauty standards is something that we are digesting in a passive way, you know. Yeah, and you are digesting so many of this content. As I mentioned before, we are watching thousands of ads every day, and not only us as adults, also kids, also teenagers, also people that, as you know, they are um, they are forming, they are shaping their brains in really critical moments of their lives, and they are understanding and learning how the world is working, and they start thinking about they start forming their personality not only for those ages, they are starting for forming the personality for the future. So teenagers are creating not only the personality for that moment, they are creating the personality that they will have in the future, how they will interact with others, how they feel, how they understand their role in the world. So this is so critical for all these aspects. And also is a problem because we are all, not only teenagers, we are all living in a really fast-paced environment. And parents, for example, has no means to help. They don't have the real and effective ways to be to make a effective parenting, effective and to practice a solution to against this problem. They are not maybe they are not aware about the problem, and when they are aware, they are not capable to change the situation because they don't have huge control. They don't have a wide control about all the activities of the kids and all the exposition that the kids have uh, to this kind of content. And I'm not talking only about the kids. That's something that as an adult also can affect you. I mean, if you are a man, or if you are a woman that is constantly receiving targeting ads about your aspect, for example, finally your self-esteem could be affected. For example, I'm a man, and as a man, and probably all the mans that are here, you can tell the same probably. As a man, in my phone, I'm receiving, in my timeline, thousands of videos and ads about not getting bald, for example, for doing hair transplants, or for doing calisthenics, or for doing diets, for having a six-pack of abs. These kind of things constantly affects our self-esteem. Even as an adult, I can develop problems of my self-perception. This is a real problem, and I'm a man. Imagine women that historically are even more exposed to these kind of pressures related with the physical appearance. So that's crazy how marketing in general could be affecting negatively in the mental health of people. Okay, I saw a hand before. Sorry, can you?
It was
Someone of
me,
you?
but
Yeah,
never
tell
mind.
me.
I forgot my question, and you already answered. It's okay.
Okay, I'm so sorry. Maybe I'm
No
talking
worries.
too
I,
too
I,
much.
I was not on topic anymore, so never mind.
Okay. Well, we also have problems of anxiety, okay? Social media ads and lifestyle of influencers create fear of missing out and pressure to conform. Remember that I mentioned so many times that FOMO is a nice mm, tool somehow and so many times, but also we need to understand that FOMO is based on fear. FOMO is based in a negative emotion. Okay, so depending how we use this we create this pressure on people. We put this pressure on people that they are already under pressure for so many other things, for economical reasons, or maybe capitalism and so other things. So if we also add the FOMO into the equation, maybe we achieve our goals of selling more, but we are also responsible of adding pressure on the potential audience. So this class, please don't use this class as a way to break with all the things that we were studying before. No, it's not just it's not that, okay? I'm trying to just to flip the coin a little and make you see the other side and make you aware, because I will feel better if I'm able to tell you all the things, not only the nice part, not only the part that can be useful for create a good campaign. Also, I want that you are aware for when you in the future will be preparing something, when you will preparing a project. I would like that you will be aware about the potential problems and potential issues that could come with your actions, so because nobody is sinless, or everybody can be a bad gear in this machine. Okay, well, addictive behaviors, targeted ads for fast food, for example, gambling or gaming exploit rewards pathways, encouraging overconsumption or dependency. Well, as I mentioned before, about the neuroplasticity, remember, addictive behaviors is something that could be really good for us because we make people engaging with our services and products, but also we are exploiting, okay, the reward pathways and and we can fall in abusive practices that make people spend a lot of money or spend money in a way that could be a problem for health, or for for example, gambling could be a problem um, uh, economically, but also for health. Okay, so yeah, that's a really huge problem, especially obviously when we talk about children. Is a really tough topic because again, we are creating new individuals in the future, and if we reshape and we exploit those brains for making them you know mm, uh, addictive consumers, um, well, I prefer not being responsible of this kind of new humans in the world. Well, about data collection and privacy. Before, I was talking with you about big data and how the data is so important to us, but also data is something problematic, something conflictive, because data implies privacy. We have so many methods of data collection: cookies and tracking, for example, pixels on the monitor, online behavior, social media activity, biometric data, so many things. Okay, I already mentioned some of them. Okay, purpose of the data? Well, personalize the ads to target specific consumers, but also predict behavior. That's something that I mentioned just before. Okay, but this brings a risk, the risk for privacy. Okay, and we need to get the consent of the people. Okay, the consent of the people. So this could be a problem if we are not transparent. For example, the lack of transparent about how the data is collected and how we will use this data. Okay, this is something that could be a problem in the future. Okay, maybe you are getting data thinking that it's all good, but if you are not enough transparent, this could implies sues, for example, from the potential audience, and maybe you can be in a trial for being abusing about the data that is not allowed to get, or something like this. Okay, potential for misuse, for example, or an authoritative access. That means what it means. For example, if you collect as a company a lot of data, but you are not able to keep the data safe, this could be a problem also, because imagine that as you are under attack, a cybersecurity attack, and your data is totally leaked. This is a problem, not only in a practical way, it's also a problem of reputation. This is a problem as a brand to have this flaw in your history, because you are perceived as a not trusty company. Okay, so that's a real problem. And consumers often acknowledge consent to invasive tracking, okay, through complex terms and conditions. That's something that happens so many times. The cookies, for example, when we get into a website, or maybe when we sign up in a new app, or something like that. There are so many people, actually, probably the 90% of the people, probably they don't read all the all the terms and conditions that you want that they sign. So we need to be as clear as possible for not having problems in the future, because obviously they sign, but you don't want to have a conflict with that in the future. Even though they sign, they can be feel that betrayal if you do something that they sign, but they don't feel that is fair. So yeah, we need to keep this balance. Try um, to be clear and concise, and really straightforward about what you can do, what you're gonna do with the data, and make the people feel trusty, on trust of you. Okay. Well, do you know what it means, the doom spending? Do you know this content? Okay, well, this concept, sorry. The doom spending is something that happens especially in moments of crisis. For example, this happens when the economical crisis, or in this case of coronavirus, that was that was economical crisis too, but was a medical, healthy health crisis, these kind of things. Well, what happened with the doom spending? This is a compulsive spending as a coping mechanism. Okay, so people that they are under stress, anxiety, or uncertainty, they tend to spend money as a coping mechanism. So, for example, that happened during the coronavirus, that people start buying lipstick, for example, even though they were not able to go outside because they were, under quarantine, into their homes. They start buying probably through e-commerce. They start buying lipsticks. Why? They don't need the lipsticks, and probably lipsticks is considered like a luxury item, especially in that moment, because it's an item that they don't need. They don't really need. So luxury items, indulgences are bought because they feel temporary relief during these difficult times. That's something that exists. Well, sometimes marketing, okay, exploits this kind of trends, okay, targets emotional triggers like fears, insecurity, or FOMO, okay, or uses urgency tactics, okay, like limited stock or personalized ads to encourage impulsive purchases, okay. So yes, the idea in this case, I'm talking about doom spending, but as one of the examples about the idea of exploiting negative emotions to sell products. What's your opinion? I would like to know more about your opinions about this. Do you think that
I
is ethic to exploit negative emotions to sell products?
um I'm not really sure if I have something to say about that, but
Mhm.
I do have a question.
Yes.
Um, isn't it most likely to happen that if people are making an impulse buying, how do you say it, an impulse expense, um, because it was a bad moment or they want to feel relieved or something, they
Mhm.
are more likely to get angry with the brand afterwards because
For,
they kind of
for the
feel
regret,
like they did something wrong from themselves. For
regret,
example,
for the regret, regret
yeah,
feeling.
the
Mhm.
regret, and they want because it's natural that people always
Mhm.
try to blame other people or other
Mhm.
things
Mhm.
outside of them when they're doing something. So I think it shouldn't be the way for brands to gain money, right? Because
Mhm.
there's a much more risk factor after it.
Yes.
What
Yes,
do
you
you
did.
think? Yeah.
No, you did a really good observation. Actually, I don't know if in a past past slides from not from this class, in another class, maybe I talk about the potential problems of increasing the impulsive behavior on people, because obviously if you trigger this impulsive behavior on people, then this could lead problems in the future, especially in the post-sale moments, because if you in the website, for example, I think I mentioned this in the campus classes. If you have a website and you in the e-commerce website, I mean, and you really want to get as much as impulsive clicks as possible, this can be a problem in the future, because then you will deal with a lot of refoundings, with a lot of people
Yeah.
trying to get to trying to send the product back. So if you want
Mhm.
to really liberate this era of click, the click
Yeah.
era for doing the really quick and easy
Yeah.
purchases through websites, you also need to be aware and to also need to be prepared for the other side of this, because
Yeah.
that will be a lot of people, driven by the facility, driven by the how easy is to buy and to get instantly these kind of products, and maybe then after analyzing what they did, they say, okay, this product is not for me. It's not my size. It's not my size. It's not my color. It's not it's actually a thing that I really don't need. Whatever. So if you really want to get this impulsive behavior from your potential audience, you also need to have a really good post-sale service for
Yeah.
for having all that amount of products that will come back to your warehouse. So
Yeah.
that's something that you need to keep in mind. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So if you're doing that as a brand, you have to invest in the other parts um of the process of the customer journey.
Exactly, because the customer journey, normally when we talk about the customer journey, we focus, or we imagine mainly the moment of selling the product, the person
Yeah.
gets the product, and that's all. But
Mm.
sometimes, especially when we are talking about e-commerce, we need to be prepared for other situations in the future, or maybe products that are so expensive that especially technology products that could break somehow, or could have a guarantee time, or all these kind of things. You need to be prepared for these kind of things. Yeah, I'm not an expert at all, because I'm neuroscientist. I'm not an expert about logistics and chain supply. But well, the sale and the service and the experience of the service doesn't stop and doesn't finish with the transaction of money. It's something that could be longer. And actually, if you keep a good service during longer time, and you have the option, maybe it's so expensive and difficult to bring it up, but if you have the option um, uh, of maintaining this kind of good experience in the future, like post-sale service,
Yeah.
attention communication, uh, um, supply of pieces that can be broken. Like, for example, if
Yeah.
you have a computer, the computer is broken, but you have a service that solve that problem so quick and easy and fast as possible, and this kind of things. So if you have the option of having that, also is something good, not only for solving that problem, is also good because that delivers the perception that you are a really good brand, a really good professional. You are not abandoning your customers. You are not
Yeah.
leaving them after the purchase, and they will be loyal in the future, because there's a lot of benefits of having a problem and solving the problem so good. If you
Yeah.
have a problem, that problem is a really good opportunity for even increasing the perception of the customer have about you, and maybe that a customer could think, okay, they fail me because the product is bad. But if you have the opportunity to good a good post sale experience, probably you can change that perception, and they say, hey, my product failed, but they were so good, and finally I'm super engaged with this brand because
Yeah.
working so hard for solving my problem. I have somehow an emotional attachment with them because they were so proactive and so professionals at solving my problem. So yes, even in the crisis moments, you can find a way
Mm.
to be to be a good option for the potential audience, and they can perceive you even better than before. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Let me check the time. Well, we have time. Well, let's check about this idea that internet is a conspiracy between brackets in this case. Okay, but it's a theory. Okay, that maybe some of you, maybe okay, internet is a theory. Okay, it's not something real. Okay, but that means that this concept means that exists a significant portion of online content that is generated by bots, algorithms, automated systems, rather than humans. What it means? Well, that's a lot, a lot of content online everywhere, in websites, in social media, and so on, so on, so on, that are created by non-human sources. Okay, could be artificial intelligence, especially nowadays. Nowadays, there are a lot of content generated by AI, and this is the reason why we are dealing every day with content that is not only fake. The problem with the content is that this content is not made by humans. So that's the reason why that internet is the perfect name for that, because internet at the beginning was created for connecting people with people. The bots were not in the equation. The internet was created for making easier to contact with people from another place. So in this case, the dead internet theory talks us about the idea that probably in your day by day you are not interacting with humans anymore. Okay, it's so likely that most of the content that you will see, not now, but maybe in the future, will be created by machines. And probably you will interact with machines. And finally, that's the twist of this idea, finally, internet will not be a safe place for humans, and finally we will go out from internet, and internet will be totally invaded by machines talking with other machines. So probably in the future, bots will uh, produce content for other bots, and they will comment, and they will interact, and they will chat with others, because the content where will be mainly generated by machines, and mainly consumed also by machines. Okay, because the machine in general, artificial intelligence, algorithms, whatever, the machine in general can read, but can create, and can create, and can read. So they can pause, they can read, and they can process data. Okay, so they can do all these kind of things. So finally, in the future, the synthetic um, beings, can somehow having this protagonism in the future of internet. Okay, and this is also the a problem, especially now that we are dealing with all this content that is fake. That exists a lot of pictures and videos that they are so well done, or they are so credible, they look so good, that finally we cannot trust on anything. We cannot trust on pictures anymore. We cannot trust on on articles. We cannot trust in videos. We cannot trust in anything. Okay. In this case, I post this picture that, well, in this case, it's so easy to detect. In this case, it's so easy to detect. But imagine someone from, I don't know, from I don't know. I don't want to say a country, but imagine someone from a country that is so far from Greece. Okay, so far from Greece, and maybe for some reason they never know, never knew about Santorini. They don't know about anything about Santorini. Okay, but when they know, interact with an article that talks about travels to Santorini, and they put this image, they are totally lying about the actual aspect, about the actual appearance of Santorini. And maybe they think that the Santorini is like a amusing park of slides and pools everywhere. It has no sense. Okay, but this kind of picture are full. I mean, internet is full. Is plenty of these kind of things. So that's the reason why we need to be aware about the existence of the internet, and the how this problem is getting worse and worse every time. Okay. Um, let's move. Well, this is just a quick content. I'm talking here about two concepts: the wow effect and the gimmicks. The wow effect is just a way to say, it's just a way to talk about the concept of using a cutting edge technology like artificial intelligence, augmented reality, virtual reality, this kind of eye-catching visuals, okay, or maybe something that is so novel that makes us feel that we need to use that technology in order to get the attention of our audience, and we really want to be the trendiest professional in the world, and trying to implement and apply so many new and fancy technologies in our campaign, our strategy. But well, we need also to be aware that these kind of things creates short-term engagement but lacks lasting impact, because if your project, if your strategy is not fully connected, is not fully aligned with these kind of technologies, you are just forcing the technology to match with your idea, but has no sense. So if you decide to use these cutting edge technologies, it's so cool, it's fine, but try to do it wisely, with a reason, with something that has sense. Don't try to sell, I don't know, uh, uh, I don't know, to olive oil with a video in virtual reality with goggles of the MetaQuest goggles has no sense. So if you really want to sell something with this kind of cutting edge technologies, try to make this has sense. Maybe because you want to express a specific narrative, you want to make people to get immersive with your content, and maybe you can sell olive oil with these technologies, but try to make them have any kind of connection. So think about your product, think about your service, think about the project that you have, and how this technology could add value, or could be just something to make the wow effect, but then it's not making any kind of it's not providing any kind of benefit for the final result. Okay. Well, the gimmicks also is tactics designed to grab attention quickly. Okay, but lack of depth on long-term value is something similar. Okay, I will prefer that you check this by your own. And well, this is the last slide. Well, we finish. Okay, I would like to tell you that we were so fast. But I would like also to tell you that tonight I will post these two classes, the content of the classes, and also the quizzes. Remember, do the quizzes before the 28th of February. You have the final exam tomorrow, okay? You can see that the final exam has a little extra, well, have a extra day, okay? This extra day is not for everyone. I mean, you can use it, obviously. I don't forbid you to use it, but it's like this extra day especially is for the students that are living abroad in another time zone, and they need this extra day for not doing the exam during the night, so I prefer being gentle with them. So that's the idea. And remember also, so important, the 28th is the last day to submit the final assignment. Okay. Did you start doing the final assignment? Did you start, some of you?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yes.
Yes, I did have some question about it.
Yes.
So for the topic, because
Mhm.
obviously this class differentiates a little bit from the previous classes,
Mhm.
because the previous were more about learning and that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Does the project has to cover everything, like all the main topics from the previous classes?
Mhm.
Sorry, the question.
So, sorry, what is the question that you
Does because it's about your final thesis, right?
my the final assignment?
The project, the final
Yes.
assignment tomorrow,
Yes.
it's supposed to be, well, if you already have a topic, it is supposed to be about a similar topic to your final thesis, right?
My final thesis. I
No,
don't
no,
understand this.
the final thesis, here it says, write a brief document between 1 and 10 pages that presents and links your master final project.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that's what I mean.
Yes. Yes. Sorry. Yes. Sorry for not understanding you the
No
okay.
worries.
No. Yeah. In the instructions that you can find in the Moodle, the idea is, well, I know that some of you, probably the most of you, you have a project to bring during the master. So during the master, you
Yeah.
have a project and you are working on that. This is just an exercise. The final assignment is just exercise to try to mix, not mixing. It's more like try to think about your own project,
Yeah.
your project that you have of creating a new startup or creating a new service or creating a new, product, whatever. You
Yeah.
have this project. Well, let's think about how this project can match, or how this all the knowledge that we were
Mhm.
talking during the class, how to fit in your project. Maybe, probably, actually not maybe, more likely, most likely, that will be difficult to make fit all the things, because every
Yeah.
single project is different. Okay, maybe you are selling me something about food, another is selling me something about insurances or whatever. So
Yeah.
depending on your projects, you can add, you can apply. That's the verb. You can apply more or less of the knowledge that you were getting during these classes. So the idea,
Yeah.
my recommendation for making your life easier is, okay, do an introduction of your project, just an introduction for make me understand what are you talking about, and then you can just follow the content, the classes. Actually, you can use the classes as sections. Class number one, class number two, class number three. You can use another titles,
Yeah.
but the idea, you can use the classes as a summary, as a summary, and you can
Yeah.
you can use like roadmap to start talking about the content that we check in the classes, and how those content could be useful or could be interesting to add, to apply into your project. If you don't have
Yeah.
project, that maybe is one of the questions that some of you have. If you don't have a
Yeah.
project yet, don't worry, because in the instructions I already told you that if you don't have a project, you can use a real life project. You can talk about a company that exists in the real life or wherever.
Okay. Okay. And if you want to leave, they obviously can. It's more a one. You want to listen, of course, but don't feel obligated to stay, of course.
Mhm.
Because for I want to focus I don't have a final project or like
Mhm.
a company I want to start. I'm just here to improve my education on psychology and marketing.
Mhm.
But I want to write my final thesis to do with something about AI. So I thought for this project I could make up a project that supports that final project,
Mhm.
but it doesn't exist. It's more like a research. So
Okay.
it's not a company I'm starting, and it's also not a real life business case.
Okay.
Is it still okay, or is that not
Do
that's
you think
something?
that do you think that some of the knowledge that you got from the classes could be fitting somehow with your project?
I think so, yeah. If I could rewrite it from the classes, like I would be like doing course one, course two, course three.
Perfect.
But
Let's
it
let
would
let's
like
yes. Let's see.
okay, great.
Let's see. It's super. I'm super open-minded. So don't worry.
Yeah,
It is. I really like that you can give me so diverse options. Okay. I mean the project itself never will be a problem. Okay. So I
yeah,
really want to see how you understood the content and how you are able to make this content coexist with your ideas. Your ideas
mm,
could be a project, or could
okay,
be your research, or could be real life cases in the world. So up to you, up totally to
yeah,
you, and I will rank not the project itself. I will rank, or I will score how you are able to apply this content for anything. Okay,
yeah.
that's all.
Okay, great, great. Okay,
Perfect.
I will do my best then to keep it within the courses. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, I'm glad to say that is the last class. Tomorrow we have the exam. I will be in the exam I mean, I will be in the meeting call. Okay, it's not mandatory to be in the call, but I will be here just for if you have any questions during the exam and so on. Okay, I will be here. But well, it's a quiz with 40 questions, and you can do it on your own. If you prefer to do it alone, it's totally fine. Okay.
There were
Professor,
some comments in
Okay.
the thing.
Thank you.
Professor, just to confirm,
Yeah.
so the deadline for the document, for the paper, is on the 28th, which is Saturday, which means that we have also Saturday to submit it. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's until the last minute of Saturday, 23:59 of Saturday. Yes.
Perfect. And the exam is tomorrow, and the quizzes as well are to be done by tomorrow.
The quizzes are also 28th, even
Okay.
Saturday. Yeah, including Saturday.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much for clarifying.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, thank you very much for all your attendance, for all your attention to me, and I hope you enjoyed the classes. See you maybe in real life, and have a good time.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for everything.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Have a
Thank you
good
for
Thank you very
everything.
much. Have a
Bye.
good
Bye.
night.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Hi, Professor.
Yes.
I just wrote you a comment, maybe you didn't read it. I was asking if you could extend the deadline for the document. To be honest, I'm a bit overwhelmed because I'm studying since like last week to try to be aligned with you. So I'm not sure if I'm like gonna be able to write everything by tomorrow.
The document, which document?
The document that you asked us to do.
Yes, but it's for Saturday.
Yeah, only for Saturday?
Well, no, I mean the last day is Saturday, including Saturday. So the final assignment can be submitted even
It's
Saturday.
not tomorrow then. It's not tomorrow, as I understood.
No, tomorrow is the final exam.
All right. Okay.
The final assignment could be delivered Saturday, and I think that you have time. Don't worry.
Okay, and the exam,
Yes.
I also noticed that we can join on the 28th.
Okay.
Is that right? I'm not-
The final exam will start tomorrow at 7, like now. Okay,
Okay.
the same hour at 7. But if you cannot do it at 7, you have time until 2 hours before Sunday. 2 hours before Sunday, because the exam has have 2 hours to do it.
Okay,
You have 2 hours maximum to do it the exam.
Okay, so we
So-
still have time for the document. That's what I wanted to make sure of.
You have time for everything. You have time for the document, for the final assignment. You have time for the quizzes, because the quizzes also have as a
Yeah, I saw the
deadline.
quizzes.
As a deadline, the 28th, and the exam also. I put the exam on 28th because some of the students are living in different countries and have problems with the time zones.
Yeah. Thank you so much for everything.
Thank you very much. See you soon.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye.